I do consider Alaska a very dangerous state for women.
The numbers would suggest that Alaska is a dangerous state for women.
A study in 2016 actually found it the most dangerous state in America, and I think it is particularly for women in rural areas where law enforcement isn't readily accessible.
I think in almost every state that I'm familiar with where you have lower incidents of sexual assault and sexual crimes generally, they don't have some of the same challenges we have in terms of delivery of services in rural areas.
A lot of our communities are super small, and the crime rate maybe doesn't justify a full-time trooper living in that community. So what we do is we base our troopers in what we call hub communities, so a larger community in a region. So like Kotzebue, for instance, we have troopers based there, and then the villages or smaller communities around there are serviced by my troopers out of Kotzebue. Many times we'll have victims of sexual assault or sexual abuse, and we need them to have forensic examinations done. And so we spend a lot of money on travel to remove those people from those communities to get them to a place that has the forensic capability to do those interviews.
Right now there's just a lack of supervision and a cultural divide. I am not saying that urban areas do not have similar problems, because actually when you look at the proportion, it's similar. What I'm saying is that in some portions of the state, it is so pervasive that it's not regarded as being unusual behavior.
Domestic violence is anybody that's lived in your home and they abused you during that time or even after they moved out.
Every woman in my family has experienced domestic violence or sexual assault on some level. In some cases, both, all of it. Growing up, I told myself I would never do that, I would leave. I was too strong for that.
A lot of people in Alaska have this perception that sexual abuse is a native problem and nothing more, and that's just not accurate. Sexual abuse does not discriminate across race, across gender, across socioeconomic lines. Anyone can be vulnerable to sexual violence.
I've been the person that's lived it below the poverty line and been abused. I've been the person that's made a six-figure income and been abused.
So violence in Alaska is absolutely normalized, I think just due to our epidemic levels of it. And I think that's why prosecutors and judges don't blink an eye when they hand out these no-jail sentences, because it's not seen as urgent or pressing. It's just seen as another woman getting strangled and sexually assaulted.
I will be thrilled when Alaska is not #1. If we can just get to #2, I would feel like we accomplished something.
He pled guilty to a sexually motivated assault, why 34-year-old Justin Schneider won't have to spend any time in prison.
This can never happen again.
Schneider struck a deal with the state, a 2-year sentence with 1 suspended, but he'll get credit for the year he spent at home with his wife and children on an ankle monitor.
So Judge Corey, by accepting this plea deal without even questioning it, sent a really strong message that sexual violence is pretty much legal in Alaska.
People don't think that they're going to go to jail, and if they're going to jail, they're not staying in jail. There's no consequence.
We identified 3 key areas in our laws that we wanted to target, and then we just started sending out emails to every legislator asking for meetings, and some of them met us for coffee and some never emailed us back, but we found a really amazing legislator, Senator Peter Machicki.
The bill that we put together redefines what a sex crime is, and we require consultation with the victim on any plea agreement, so that that victim may engage to the point where they recognize that facing their perpetrator in court will really build a strong case and put that person away for an appropriate amount of time.
As a legislator, there are no simple solutions. Every day you have to push the ball forward. Every day you have to say, what we're doing is still not enough. We still have to keep looking at ways.
I do feel like we're at a moment in Alaska where women are ready to move on from awareness and to demand accountability from our judges, from our laws, from our legislators, from our prosecutors, that they're not going to just roll over anymore, that they are going to demand change, and that if you aren't willing to work with us and be our ally, then we're going to vote you out.